Hello there, this is Louise from Manchester. I just wanted to update you on a video about the Piper Nigrum, and what I've done is I've made this tower. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Made from a plastic trellis that I've wound round and I've tied, as you can see, I've tied it together. I've got some canes for support, and just go a bit closer, you can see there's a mesh on the inside, and that's to help keep the compost in and spilling over, which it has been doing. And the reason I've used a mesh as well is so that it's big enough for the Piper Nigrum, which is tied in. This is the apical stem, and these are the laterals, and is to enable the adventitious roots to hopefully root into this medium and create little plantlets, so I can cut them off as it grows up the tower. That's the plan anyway. The material I've used inside is, to start with, I used a cocoa brick that people use for their reptiles. And also you can use it for making compost, and it's a compressed brick. You soak it in water and it quadruples, or even more than that. It creates a lot of compost from one brick, and it's fairly cheap to buy on the internet, so I've used that. That's the main brown stuff that you can see there, and I've also added this to it, and as you can see it says beneficial fungus to promote growth, suppress soil-borne plant diseases, stimulates root and top growth, treats up to 5 plants, easy to use granules. So I've mixed that in, a portion of that, and this is vermicompost, which is in a bigger bag, and I've obviously used some of it. Sorry, some of the bit of the label has ripped off, but it's organic vermicompost with elixir rock dust. It's a non-soil based growing media, common, not always accurately referred to as compost. So basically it's worm castings, so worm poop. People make their own, but you know, I can't make my own, so I bought it. Not too expensive, but supposed to be very, very good for your plants basically. So that's what I've used mixed in, and hopefully that will keep this plant healthy. It is doing well, it's got lots of new growth on it. I got it last November. I had 2 other Piper Nigrum plants. They were a different shape of leaf. I think this is the Sarawak variety, which is grown a lot in Indonesia, because it doesn't have the heart shape that the other Piper Nigrums that I have had in the past. Unfortunately they didn't survive, but this one's doing really well. But this was covered in peppercorns when I got it last November, but they all fell off. They were quite immature, so I'm hoping next year this will have covered this tower. I can top up more compost in there if I need to. I've got it leaning against here because it is quite heavy, and it's in a bucket at the moment because I used a lot of water to help it expand, and there is water collecting at the bottom, so I'm going to let it collect it for a day and then I will empty that, so I don't want it sitting in water. I'll spray mist it just to keep it moist, and keep the compost moist, and hopefully have healthy peppercorn plants, or Piper Nigrum, or black pepper. Just using my tower to help my little silver pothos that's growing here. So I thought I might use that to trail it across. Might even root along there if it can anchor itself. But yeah, This is not my idea, by the way. I saw somebody on the internet who's created their own tower. Different materials, I think. The internal compost, I think, is what they use, is where I got my idea off them. But the tower, I had actually seen that being used on a much bigger scale in Malaysia or Indonesia. There was a YouTube video, column propagation, I think it was called, Piper Nigrum, and much bigger towers with steel cages and using the cocoa peat and vermicompost and the trichoderma. But yeah, it seemed to work for them. I'm hoping it will work for me. So that's it from Manchester. I'll update you if there's any changes in the development of this plant. And whilst we're here, I'll just have a quick look at my coffee plant there. And I've got two, these are tamarind. And this is a type of lemon that's grown in Bangladesh, a Zara lemon. Got a little bud growing. A bit young to have buds, but these probably won't stay on. But the plants are growing well. This is also another plant from Bangladesh called a Rangoon creeper, or I can't remember the official name, but if you Google Rangoon creeper, it's supposedly a flower that changes from white to pink to red. And when I got this last November from Bangladesh, it was literally just sticks, as you can see, and it's taken all this time to put on this foliage, but it's got lots of foliage, unfortunately no flowers. But I think it's this year it's probably just recovering from its transplant shock, but seems to be doing well, and I'm hoping next year I'll have some lovely flowers. I think it'll be a bit late this year for it to flower. So that's it from Manchester. Thank you for watching. Please press the like button and subscribe if you like.